Chelsea fans, welcome back to Talking Chelsea. Welcome back to another match review where Chelsea got absolutely decimated by Flamengo in the second half of this game. And to be honest, throughout the whole 90 minutes, South American teams should not be taken for granted. This is what everyone was screaming, and I totally agree. I said this in my preview. I thought we were going to go for a heavily rotated squad. We went for a few changes. Maresca went for a different system of a 4-3-3. He did make some changes. Palmer on the right wing, Gusto coming in, playing Reece James in midfield. Delap getting his first start. It wasn't meant to be for Chelsea. It was definitely a tale of two halves. I felt like at half-time we were still in a position to change things, kick on and go get a result. But that second half, we fell apart like deck chairs. We folded like deck chairs. Nicholas Jackson, we need to speak about him. Now look, I'm going to go through my thoughts and opinions on this game as an overall thought just after the final whistle, but I'm also going to be sharing the match stats with you so we can break this down in terms of momentum and how the game panned out stats-wise, because eyes and stats are always very different. And before we get into the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you are a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content. We're on the road to 10k by the end of 2025. Now, for being honest, the way that this game started, Chelsea were very shaky. It looked like we were treating this as a glorified pre-season friendly, and Flamengo were coming into the game. They were very aggressive, pressing high, playing with pride, playing with passion. Yes, you could argue that they are more accustomed and are more climatized to that type of heat, but I'm not taking that as an excuse. We've been there nearly a week now, or just over a week. We should be getting used to it a little bit. There's no way that, after the first 10 minutes of a game where Chelsea typically are a bit shaky, typically try and settle in. Sometimes it goes to the first 20 minutes. We could see how high and how aggressive Flamengo were pressing us. They were causing us a few issues. They had a few chances. Sanchez was on call to make some saves. And look, Chelsea kind of settled into the game. We then get that first goal, in my opinion, against run of play. Pedro Neto, very well worked goal, forces the error on the halfway line, drives and uses his pace to get away from everyone. One-on-one with the goalkeeper. Tucks it away, very clinical with him, could have very easily missed that opportunity, and he didn't. He took it, and we go 1-0 up against run of play, in my opinion. Then we just kind of sat back and let Flamengo come at us and come at us and come at us, and we weren't really changing things. Gusto didn't have a great game. Our back line didn't really have a great game. There was a goal line clearance by Levi Colwell, right place, right time. Our defence just looks mismatched. It didn't look cohesive. It didn't like it was working together today. Cucurella is normally one of our best performers. He had a bit of an off game. Enzo Fernandez struggled to get in the game. Palmer was non-existent on that right hand side, very, very rarely involved in the game, couldn't really make a difference. Delap worked hard, pressed hard, hold up play was good, had one good opportunity, good shot, good save to keep it out, to be fair. We had lots of corners, no threat from set pieces. We were defending set pieces. We looked vulnerable. Both of our goals, well, 2 of the 3 goals come from a set piece. Unreal. One was a cross in the box, one was from a corner, but it was exactly the same. It was copy and paste, cookie cutter conceding. That's what it was. A ball into the back stick, headed back across to the back post, tap in. And to be fair, Sanchez couldn't do anything about the goals today. Couldn't do anything about them. I know people like to hate on Sanchez. I've not publicly been his biggest fan, admittedly, and I will give him credit where it's due. He couldn't do anything today. I think he actually had an okay game. Yes, his distribution was poor. He had some moments where he was kicking it out, and he looked a lot better on the ball rather than the distribution. But being that third centre back at times, he seemed to do the job. He come collect some saves, and he conceded 3, so it always looks bad on him. But I think we can't even blame Sanchez for his performance, if I'm being honest. We folded like deck chairs in a 5 to 10 minute period in that second half. We're going to speak about Nicholas Jackson as well, because honestly, I can't keep defending this guy. I've been defending him till I'm blue in the face, but to be honest, it's becoming increasingly difficult. Now look, this is the second group stage game. This doesn't mean our competition is over. We've got the next game. We win that, we go through, right? We know this. Flamengo are going to go through as top. I can't see them losing that last game. They may do. It might be a draw. We don't know. We don't care about that. We just need to go out and win our last game against S. Tunis. But in all honesty, it's just very disappointing. Very disappointing. The second half, Flamengo come out and they thoroughly deserved. They dismantled us. Position by position, minute by minute. They tore us apart. They were relentless in their press, relentless in their chance creation, clinical in front of goal when they got their opportunities. They absolutely broke us down. Maresca's changes, Romeo Lavia came on, Jackson come on. We'll speak about Jackson. 4 minutes he was on the pitch. 4 minutes and a reckless challenge, and he gets a straight red card. This is the second time he's done this in 6 weeks? 4, 5, 6 weeks. Did it against Newcastle, unneeded challenge. At that point, I think we were 2-0 down. We were nowhere near getting back in the game. Carbon copy here. He gets sent off, and there is no way back into this game. It's his birthday today. Happy birthday, Jackson. You won't play any more of this tournament. And it begs the question, do Chelsea go in and get a number 9? Not number 9, but another striker. Are we going to utilise Jackson as a striker still? Are we going to offload him? Are we going to use him as a left winger? Is this just a bad game? Is this just a sign that he's a very immature player? He has low footballing IQ. I mean, I don't know why you're making challenges like that. Studs up in the shin. Like, you just can't get away with that. Whether it's a lapse of judgment, whether it's a rush of blood, I don't know. But twice in quick succession, really. And he knows he's let his team down. You could see by the way that, he reacted when he made that challenge. It was an instant red. There's no way around it. And it's just so disappointing. We're 2-0 down and that happens. There's no way into the game. Yes, Mark Guiu comes on, and I'm glad he got some minutes, but realistically, he wasn't going to change the game because we had 10 men. And at that point, game's done. So fair play to Flamengo, because they honestly, they thoroughly deserved it. They broke us down. We folded like deck chairs, and they proved to us why you should never underestimate a South American team. And I don't think that we did underestimate them. I feel like they just found us out. They exploited our weaknesses. They took advantage of it. They were very clinical. And I think that's what it was. So what I want to do with you guys is go through the stats of the game, kind of break it down and just kind of see, whether the eye test and the stats match up. So let's take a quick look at this. Let's go over to FootMob. Now, obviously, we got the 3-1, the breakdown of the goals. Neto in the 13th minute of that first half. Enrique, he had a very good game. Danilo in the 65th minute, and then Jan in the 83rd. The third goal was very unlucky from a Chelsea standpoint, because the ball kind of ricocheted through, fell nicely to the attacker, who was one-on-one with the keeper, and he blasted into the net. And again, Sanchez can't do anything from 6-7 yards out. And obviously the Jackson red card on the 68th minute. Now if we go down, we can see the momentum, and the first half, again, I thought we were more competitive, but looking at it this way in terms of the momentum shift, we weren't competitive. We had like two spells in the 90. We started the game, Flamenco started very well, then we had this big spell where we looked like we were comfortable. We looked like, okay, we're settling into the game now. Flamenco come back a little bit. Then this is where we got the goal and this curvature of, when momentum went our way. And then straight back to Flamenco. Couldn't get back. They had a big dominating spell. And then the half kind of simmered out a little bit until we got just a few minutes before half-time. And then Flamenco had a big sort of run of dominance. Then it was half-time. And I thought, right, at that point, the game is still winnable. We make a few changes. We can go win this game. We can see out this victory. And Enzo Maresca has taught these players very, very well to see out games, to see out 1-0 wins. Now, do I want to sit on a 1-0? Of course not. You want to go and you want to double your lead and you want to be more dominant and secure that victory. But in a game like this, I was like, I'll take a 1-0. The way that first half's gone, we were quite lucky in some spells. And I felt like the game was still there for the taking as long as we made a few changes tactically. That wasn't the case. We had the first spell straight after the first half of dominance, and we just couldn't break them down, couldn't create any chances that were worth carving out. And then here you go. This is where it breaks down. This is in like a 10-minute spell. Flamengo have this sort of wave. Look at this line. It's completely flat. None of the ball. Nothing at all. They were knocking on the door. They get that first goal. They then get that second goal in very quick succession. Jackson then gets sent off. All in, again, like I said, it's like a 5-minute period. Game's done. The game is done. Chelsea just have to see themselves and it's damage control. Don't get embarrassed, even though that second half performance was embarrassing. Damage control. Down to 10 men. The game's been flipped on its head. See the game and try and get back into it where you can. We did have a moment of momentum. Again, couldn't create anything of any value. Couldn't create any chances where we could get back into the game. And then it kind of simmered out for a 10-minute spell. And then right at the end, obviously, Flamenco scored their third goal, which really killed it off. And then that last 7 minutes of injury time, Chelsea were all in it, but Flamenco were like, cool, you have the ball. The job's done for us. Game over. So, look, it's just one of those games. We've seen this happen time and time again over the season. We need to bounce back. Was it poor tactically? Was it the manager's fault? Was it the player's fault? Was it an amalgamation of things? I just think Flamenco were a better team and absolutely deserved the win. Now, when you go to the top stats, you look at the ball possession, it was fairly even. 52-48. Expected goals, they had 3. They scored 3. Bang on the money. Us, 1. We got 1. Fair enough. Total shots was very even, 13-11. Big chances, 4 apiece, but we couldn't take ours. The player of the match was Gonzalo Plata. And if we look down the run of events, one thing I will mention, and I'm not one to sort of blame officiating, right? We know it's at a poor standard, but honestly, in this Club World Cup, they're dishing out yellow cards like it's birthday cards, right? Moises Caicedo for a tackle. Pedro Neto scores, he then gets another a yellow. Then Liam Delap gets a yellow for something. It's wild. Half time, they make some changes. Bruno then scores in the 62nd minute. Delap comes off for Jackson. He then gets, and Romeo Lavia comes on for Reece James. Danilo scores. Jackson red card. 4 minutes is wild, you know. Gerson gets a yellow card. They make some changes. We then make some very late changes. Look, Palmer off for Madueke, who looked very bright when he came on. He was really trying to get back into the game and try and drive some things forward. So, you know, fair play to him for that. And Mark Guy was trying his best. It comes on instead of Enzo Fernandez, who I felt struggled to get into today's game. And then the game is killed off a minute later after them substitutes. Wallace Yan scores. A couple more yellow cards for Flamengo, and then they make some changes, and that's it. And that's it. One thing I do want to look at are the stats of the team. That's what I want to look at, stats of the team, and let's see what everyone's rating was and how much we agree with them. So I'm going to zoom out just a little bit there so we can get everyone in. Sanchez 7.2, I feel like that's fair. I feel like he actually had a fairly decent game today. I don't think he did much wrong. I know he conceded 3, so it looks bad, but I don't think the goals were his fault, and I think every other aspect of his game was pretty good. That defensive line, Chalobah, shocking game today. Really wasn't at the races. Gusto, I don't know how he's got a 6. Gusto was awful, and we can't be playing him much. I know in my prediction I said I'd play him left back, but I thought we were going to rotate Cucurella out. But if that's the case, play Reece James right back. Don't even play Gusto. Or if you don't want to rotate, play Reece James in midfield and play Ashampong right back, because he's such a better player. Such a better player. I don't know what's happened with Gusto under Enzo Maresca, but he's just fallen off a cliff. Reece James looked, like I said, at times he looked like he struggled in midfield. I've said this time and time again, even in Conference League games where we get away with it. Sometimes he looks amazing in midfield, but most of the time he looks lost, he gets caught out. It's not really his position. He is better as an out-and-out right-back, in my opinion, and a lot of Chelsea fans share that. Caicedo, probably the standard Caicedo performance, he's always good. Breaking up play, trying to do everything he can. There were times where he was dropping in as that third centre-back, and Levi Colwill was going forward in that first half to try and press, which I quite liked, because Caicedo could cover Levi Colwill. Levi Colwill getting the highest rating out of our back four. Do you know what? I totally agree. I think Colwill was actually fairly solid today. Now, I know that we conceded 3 and it goes against it, and our defence as a unit wasn't great. But Colwill individually, he was actually fairly solid today, getting forward and pressing really high, and I really liked that. Cucurella was off it. He had moments where he was great, but there was also a few moments where he was caught out. Between Colwill and Cucurella, they were definitely our best defenders today, but they were still off it from their normal performance. Caicedo with a typical Caicedo performance. Neto getting a 7.6 makes sense. He was everywhere. He's having a really good Club World Cup. Got the goal in the first half. And then Enzo Fernandez 6.4. I think that's about fair. I think that's fair. I think he did have a little bit more of an impact than Palmer, who got a 6, and I think Palmer could have probably got lower. I forgot he was on the pitch at times. And I don't think it's his fault. I just feel like Flamengo knew to mark him out the game. The way that we played this game, we started in a 4-3-3, and Palmer was that right winger. Just wasn't involved at all. Every time he got the ball, he was either tackled or there was no options for him to do. He was just completely shut out. So I think a 6 is fair there. Enzo Fernandez at 6.4. He struggled to kind of create and get forward a bit more, but he was really trying to get stuck in. Wasn't his best game, of course, but it is what it is. And Liam Delap at a 6.1. I think that's fair. He played 60 minutes. He had one strike that was well saved. Good effort, to be fair. He hustled hard. He was pressing. His hold-up play was good, but nothing really come off for him because Chelsea just didn't create much. The only attacking threat we had was the goal, and that was from Neto, and that was from a mistake that was forced upon Flamengo. So I agree with these stats. I think they're pretty spot on. Other than Gusto getting over a 6, Gusto being rated more than Palmer is a bit iffy for me. And if we look at the group stages, this is how we sit. We sit second with 0 goal difference. Scoring 3, conceding 3. It's 3 points. Flamengo are automatically through now. I mean, technically so are we. We just need a draw as a minimum against Estunes or Esperance, however you pronounce it. And then we can qualify, but it just doesn't look pretty. But look, they are my thoughts and opinions. They're the stats on the game. I would love to know your thoughts and opinions down below. Do you feel like this was a Maresca issue? Do you feel it's a tactical thing? Do you feel like Flamengo were just so good that they completely outplayed us? Very curious to know your thoughts down below in the comment section. And do you still think that Chelsea will qualify for the next stage going into our next game against Tunis? And if you have watched this video all the way to the end, firstly, you're a real one, and I mean that, you are a real one. But secondly, there'll be a thumbnail appears on the screen. So if you are a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content, make sure you click that thumbnail because you'll enjoy that video too.